Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. It is officially spring, and even though it's still a little chilly here in the mountains, I felt inspired to pick out decks that remind me of spring. I did come up with more decks than I expected, so I did have to narrow down my choices a bit. And by a bit, I mean like by half. I chose decks according to colors, imagery, and just how they make me feel. And what I'll do first is I'll share my mass market tarot decks, then my indie tarot decks, and then I do have a couple oracle decks. I will also include timestamps below so you can jump ahead to different segments. And I will also leave purchase links below. As far as I know, all the decks that I'm sharing here today are available. So with that, let's get started. First up on the mass market tarot list is Tarot of Mystical Moments by Katrin Weisstein. A lot of the colors and imagery of this deck just remind me of spring. And I mean, it's just kind of hard not to see that in this deck. It's funny because initially I wasn't sure how this deck would read for me, even though I am a huge fan of Katrin's artwork. But immediately there was a connection. I mean, like pretty much out of the box, there was a connection with this deck. I just love it. I get really good readings with it. And just the insane imagination and talent this lady has is incredible to me. There's so much in this deck. I think it's one of those decks that I can do a quick read with it if I have to, but mostly I like to take my time with the Mystical Moments Tarot, or Tarot of Mystical Moments. But look at all of that spring imagery, right? It's kind of hard to miss. Look at that. I love this Strength card. Okay, and that is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. All right, so I think any of Paulina Cassidy's decks can be put in the spring deck category. Trying to decide was not easy. They're all beautiful, and the colors and art styles are incredibly similar. So for simplicity's sake, I decided to go with the Phantasma Tarot. I just started working with it, and I just really like the way that it feels, and I want to get to know it a little bit better. But let me know in the comments below what your favorite Paulina Cassidy deck is. Which one would you choose for spring? Do you have any of her decks? And let me know what you think of them. And so just really quick, because I'm not kidding, it was really hard to leave out any of these decks. Is just, you can see, I'm trying not to pick up the glare. This is the glossiest. The Joie de Vivre is the glossiest of all of the decks that I have by her, but you can see, sorry about the glare. This is driving me crazy. Anyway, you can see that very spring-like, right? Do you see my dilemma? It was really hard to choose. And I've probably worked with the Joie de Vivre tarot deck the most, so yeah, I almost picked it. I mean, because look, see, rabbits remind me of spring. It was really hard not to choose this one, but again, the Phantasma Tarot is new to me, and I wanted to take a closer look at it. Oh, I love this deck so much. So let me go ahead and put that aside. And the other one, which is the Spirit Song Tarot, a lot of spring colors in this deck, as you can see. And also, I mean, I love that the rabbit is the Empress in this deck. If you're into animal decks, this is a good one. If you like watercolor, which I do, and you know, you you like her whimsical style, this might be a good one for you. Gorgeous. Okay, let's get that. I promised myself I would not go through all of them, so I'm not. I'm just showing you really briefly. This was my first one. This is the Paulina Tarot, and I was following her artwork before this was actually published, which is sort of interesting because I think that was before Kickstarter. And Indiegogo and things like that. But anyway, this deck, even though, yes, it absolutely has spring colors in it, it reminds me of, the artwork reminds me of A Midsummer Night's Dream, just because of, there's so much fae energy. Like this could be, yeah, this could be one of the characters from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Just so beautiful. And this is the Paulina Tarot. I will leave links for all of these below. But let's take a look at the Phantasma Tarot, because there's I just think this is a beautiful deck. And look, rabbit. Again, rabbits remind me of spring and tulips, and I do love this Magician card. Oh, just so cute. It feels like she took with this particular deck, while I'm looking at it, like she took the images, or not the images, but this feels like a cross between Joie de Vivre and Spirit Song. Beautiful. But do you see what I mean about the spring feel that it has? Love the fae energy. Well, this is a Jeanne, but also, to me, it has fae energy. Look at her. Oh, poppies and sunflowers are my absolute favorite flowers. I love this. I love this world card. Okay, and that is the Phantasma Tarot. Okay, so illustrated by Carlotta Santos, the Carlotydes Tarot has soft and simple colors in it that I just love. The colors and many of the illustrations in this deck, to me, make me think of spring. I mean, just look at that. And this also has kind of a Midsummer Night's Dream feel to it, doesn't it? Oops. This has become one of my favorite personal decks. I just love the sweet and quirky images in this deck. And I really like the size of it. It's very manageable, and it feels really good in the hands. But yeah, again, to me, this is a good deck for spring. I love the pinks and lavenders in this deck. So cute. And also, unicorns make me think of spring and summer. Oh, also, can we just look at the backs? Oh, this glare. Okay, and that is the Tarot de Carlotydes. Okay, next up is the Zerner Farber Tarot, also known as the Enchantment Tarot. This is the latest 2023 edition. It is also my favorite edition. I like that it's borderless, and I like how the cardstock feels. It's just a nice, it has this nice matte feel to it. And I am really enjoying the smaller size. The imagery in this deck is just so beautiful, but it also has a lot of spring colors in it. A lot of lavenders and pinks, and a lot of spring energy and imagery in this deck. The swans and hearts. So pretty. There's a lot in this deck. I mean, even the death card looks like spring. Okay, and that is the Zerner Farber Tarot. Last on the mass market tarot list is the Renaissance Tarot by Brian Williams. The soft pastel colors of this deck absolutely make me think of spring. This is the 2002 edition. I believe the first edition was published sometime in the late 80s. There is some nudity in this tarot deck, so if this bothers you, feel free to skip ahead to the next segment. This is also, the minor arcana are very pippish, which might bother people. It doesn't really bother me, but it might bother some people. Just a beautiful, beautiful deck. Okay, and that is the Renaissance Tarot. So the first two indie decks are by Nikisha Vanderhoven, the Rabbit Tarot and the TaRat Tarot. These are both poker size, which I love, and they both make me think of spring. Trying to choose between these two was also hanging me up, so I went ahead and chose both of them. And by all rights, the Rabbit Tarot should be the overall winner because rabbits. But the soft pastel colors and imagery in the TaRat Tarot work perfectly for this season. And admittedly, I am partial to the TaRat Tarot. They both remind me a little bit of Beatrix Potter's artwork. So let's just look at a few of the cards side by side, and you can decide which one makes you feel like spring. And let me know which one you like the most. Like, which one do you prefer? I think I like the sketchbook feel or the sketchy feel of the TaRat Tarot, whereas the Rabbit Tarot feels a little bit more finished. And I mean, they're both wonderful, but I really like her. I like the art style of the TaRat Tarot, I think, the most. This makes me laugh. So cute. I love this. Okay, and that is the Rabbit and TaRat Tarot. Next is the Lunne Tarot by Lupin Grania. I chose this because of the pastel colors and gentle imagery that make me think of spring. This is such a beautiful deck. She primarily uses watercolor as her medium, which I just love. But yeah, I think this is another deck that's wonderful for spring. So pretty. Okay, and that is the Lunne Tarot. Next, we have the Heroine Tarot by Gina Skiepakowski. I chose this one partly because of the soft pastel colors, but also because of the outfits in this deck, the colors, yes, but just the ruffles. Ruffles make me think of spring, and there's a lot of ruffles in this deck. So I think I might associate ruffles and poofy sleeves with spring. I love this deck. This deck feels light and airy, like spring to me. This is another one of those decks that I didn't expect to get good readings with, but I ended up being completely wrong about that. I love this death card. I really enjoy her use of color. But as you can see, there's a lot of white space, which, you know, adds to the lightness of it, but a lot of spring colors. I love this strength card too. It's such a beautiful deck. Look at her little bonnet. Isn't this the sweetest Temperance? Okay, and that is the Heroine Tarot. Next, we have the Painted Tarot by Sophie McKay Knight. This is one of my favorite and most used personal decks at the moment. This deck just gets me. I was on the fence about including this one because it also makes me think of summer, but I think there's so many springtime colors in it that it absolutely qualifies for spring. Look at this Fool. So to me, this is very spring. I love her artwork. I think it's the colors, but also she puts a lot of flowers and leaves in her artwork. This deck has some fae energy in it, in my opinion. It just feels a little fae to me. A lot of the colors are very bright, but it also, at the same time, it feels very earthy. But see, look at that. Isn't it just pretty? Okay, and that is the Painted Tarot. Okay, so last on the indie tarot list is the Kei Tarot Love. It is just hard not to think of spring when I look at this deck. This is another personal deck that I reach for often. It has the most calming energy. It's not a fast reader, not for me anyway. Oh, look at that. This deck encourages me to just slow down and be in the moment, take my time, and I like that. I like that about this deck. Something about this deck also just feels very healing to me. I love this World card. I mean, but again, do you see a lot of the spring imagery and colors in this deck? It's kind of hard to miss, right? I'm so in love with her artwork. Okay, and that is the Kei Tarot Love. Okay, so of all of my Oracle decks, I have probably used Oracle of the Radiant Sun the most. And I think it definitely has a spring vibe to it. Just the color, the soft pastel colors, and a lot of the imagery as well make me think of spring. This is the 2002 edition published by St. Martin's Griffin. And I think it was out of print for a while before being picked up by Red Feather. So as far as I know, this deck is still available and you can get it on Amazon. I'm not sure what the differences are. I think as far as I know, it's saturation maybe, and the backs are the same design, but the colors are maybe more vibrant or more saturated in the latest edition. But I love this deck. I just do. This is a good one if you're into astrology. So see, Moon in Sagittarius, Mars in Sagittarius. I love this deck. I like the little book that goes with it too. Whoops. Okay, and that is Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Lastly, we have the Dreaming Way Lenormand deck. The colors and imagery of the Dreaming Way Lenormand just sort of screams spring to me. It was illustrated by Quanchina. She's the same artist that illustrated the Dreaming Way Tarot. I really love the light and whimsical imagery of this deck. And I think of all of my Lenormand decks, this is the one I tend to reach for the most. But look at that. This deck is just the cutest. Oh, I love this card. Okay, and that is the Dreaming Way Lenormand deck. And that's it for my decks with a spring vibe. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like my picks and if you have any decks that you consider good decks for spring. I always love hearing about new and different decks. Thanks again, and take care. Bye.